Excuse me, good evening, everybody. Thank you all for coming. We're going to pass out resolutions this evening. When you hear your name called, please come up to the microphone. If there's somebody here that wants to recognize you for getting the resolution, just let us know, give us a high sign, and we'll make sure we slow the student down or the individual down so that you can get a picture. Thank you.
Our first group of resolutions go to our veterans. We had another successful Veterans Day celebration in our schools. Each of our schools was visited by a veteran. They got to meet the students and talk a little bit about what they've done. So thank you once again to all of our veterans. Cuthbert Ashby. Eugene Bernhardt. Stuart Brandow. Timothy Casey. Ronald Kuzmano. Ron Davey. Paul DiPaolo. Ray Delaman. Daniel Dunn. John Eberhardt. Ted Evon. Tim Casey. Amanda Felici. Joe Fermola. Evan Geraci. Danny Gonzalez. Robin Goodrich. Jim Hickson. Carolyn Jackson. Alfred Jankowski. Michael Jarnatoski. Ed Landino. Francis Lee. Harold Mann. Ed Marzak. Randy Matthews. Jack McGreevy. Joseph Morello. Jeff Mullins. Charles Nieder. Charlie Orgelfinger. Ramon Orris. Jonathan L. Padilla. Nirva Patel. George Pezzett. Eric Ransom. Lawrence Rizzo. Adam Amatowski. Joseph Stanisowski. Phil Schreiber. Robert Skibar. Kevin Smith. Vernon Tatum. Gary Thompson. Neil Valadares. Edward Van Eckert. Gary White. John Wintz. And William Wisk. Okay. Kimberly Zadigan, an art teacher at Woodbridge High School, received the Business Education Partnership Champion Award from the Woodbridge Metro Chamber of Commerce on October 16, 2019. Kimberly Zadigan has endured her time as a transformative and collaborative community builder through values of awareness, community, heartfulness, inclusivity, and accountability. And if you've ever seen the beautiful murals that are painted by our train underpasses, Kimberly is one of those responsible for those beautiful paintings. She's a teacher at Woodbridge High School, and we're proud to have her. Thank you, Ms. Zadigan. The Metro Park Assembly of God Church has become a leading supporter of the Woodbridge Township School District. The Metro Park Assembly Church of God has portrayed an abundance of generosity and support for our local school district, and they participated in Service Sunday, wherein they generously donated their time and efforts to painting the teacher's room at Indiana Avenue School 18. Thank you very much to the Metro Park Assembly of God Church and to Pastor Leslie Samuel. On October 13th, 2019, the Woodbridge Township Athletic Alumni Association had their ceremony at the Woodbridge Community Center, where they inducted the next round of student athletes into our Athletic Alumni Association Hall of Fame. We'd like to recognize the two gentlemen and their committee who organized that wonderful event. First and foremost, Nick Sardone. And I know Nick will be at Northern Highlands tomorrow night rooting the Woodbridge football Barons on to their next state championship. I think he's been at all of them. Also, Mike Kelber helped coordinate that evening. Mr. Kelber? I know many of the rest of the committee are here. Sandy Schmicke. Hang on now, you all get your names called. Thank you very much. Ann Serrana. Sharon DiLeonardo. Mike Yanazzo. Norma Grasso. Tina Savonis. Greg Ficara. Vito Simaluka. And we have the other members of the committee who couldn't make it: Patrick Muller, Jim Anderson, Kyle Anderson, Tom Schmiel, Nancy Cantala, Rich Duda, Norma Grasso. Norma's here? Norma Grasso? Okay, I'm sorry. Clark Payne, Ellen Paisano. Thank you very much. The students of Claremont Avenue School Number 20 participated in a fundraising program sponsored by the American Heart Association. The students participated in Kids Heart Challenge, where the students learned about their heart while helping others and raising money for the American Heart Association. The Kids Heart Challenge prepares the children for success through physical and emotional well-being. This outstanding accomplishment brings honor and acclaim not only to the individual students, but to their school and to the school district. Congratulations to School 20. This is one of very few given out in the entire nation, so they were recognized on a national level. Congratulations, School 20. As part of our Veterans Day celebration, each year we hold a fourth grade essay contest, Veterans Day essay contest, and we have our winners from each elementary school. From Morby Street, Alicia Kumari. From Avenel Street, Jordan Russo. From Port Reading, Michael Sullivan. From Ross Street, Edward Grabon. From Ford Avenue, Jasmine Vasquez. From Indiana Avenue, Matthew Badari Fernandez. From Menlo Park Terrace, Gia Nicholas. From Claremont Avenue, Emma Misdom. From Oak Ridge Heights, Vera Malashevich. From Lindcrest, Asher D'Agostino. From Woodbine Avenue, Vivan Pandey. Lafayette Estates, Ivana Guidado. From Robert Misenik, Hannah Heimlich. From Pennsylvania Avenue, Abigail Chiraboga. Congratulations. He's got it. From Matthew Jago, Orgiana Serrano. And from Oak Tree Road, Arti Roa. Also part of our Veterans Day celebration, our third graders participate in a poster contest, and we pick the winner from each school for the best third grade poster. From Morby Street, Pranav Giridharan. Congratulations. From Avenel Street, Kendra Choke. Congratulations. From Port Reading, Taylor Konjorski. Congratulations. From Ross Street, Larismar Rodriguez. From Ford Avenue, Avari Lubecki. From Indiana Avenue, Giovanni Flores. From Menlo Park Terrace, Ariana Bardwaj. From Claremont Avenue, Samantha Howell. From Oak Ridge Heights, Victoria Zarich.
Congratulations.
From Glencrest, Sahana Turmaletsky.
Congratulations.
From Woodbine Ave, Molly Patel. Lafayette Estates, Ava Turco. From Robert Masenik, Kavya Singh. From Pennsylvania Avenue, Leah Westcott. From Matthew Jago, Kimberly Garcia Romero.
Congratulations.
And from Oak Tree Road, Dayanara Santos. We have two students from Colonial High School being recognized tonight, Zachary Kay and Brittany Langevin, who were 2019 graduates of Colonial High School who achieved the AP Capstone Seminar Research Certificate from the College Board. Congratulations to both of those students. We actually have three more students who have achieved the AP Capstone recognition from Colonial High School from 2019. Archda Menderu, Shivani Patel, and Adara Temizler. Congratulations. Investors Bank has become a leading supporter of the Woodbridge Township School District, and Investors Bank has portrayed an abundance of generosity and support for our local school district. Richard McDermott, Director of Reverse Home Mortgages, Investor Bank, has generously donated tickets for the students in the RISE program to attend the Jason Bishop Magic Show at the State Theater in New Brunswick, New Jersey. The donation made by Richard McDermott is greatly appreciated by the students of RISE and the people of Woodbridge Township. Thank you very much, Mr. McDermott. Wasn't on the list. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Thanks for that coverage.
Thank you. And that concludes our resolution portion of this evening. If you didn't get your resolution, you came in late, come right up and see us, and we'll get it to you. Thank you.
The November 21st, 2019 meeting of the Woodbridge Township Board of Education will please come to order. Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Bourdain.
Here.
Mr. Del Petro.
Here.
Mr. Harris.
Yes, you can give me one.
Mr. Molnar.
Here.
Mr. Sedana.
Here.
Mr. Velez.
Here.
And Mr. Treeboss.
Here. Mr. Secretary, as required by the Sunshine Law, please read the notice of meetings.
Thank you, Mr. President. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this Act, the Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted as follows. January 4th, 2019, emailed to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and the Municipal Clerk's Office, posted in Avenel Middle School, and the Board of Education Administration Building.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Mr. Della Pietro, will you read the closed session statement?
Thank you, Mr. President. In compliance with the Sunshine Law, the Board must go into closed session in order to discuss subjects exempted from the public portion of our meeting. The discussions to be held in closed session will be regarding personnel matters. Additionally, the Board will discuss contract negotiations. Finally, the Board will receive attorney-client advice regarding the implementation of the project labor agreement. Any information regarding the closed session discussion will be released to the public when the reasons for discussing these matters in closed session no longer exist.
I have a motion by Mr. Della Pietro. Do I have a second? Second. Second by Mr. Molnar. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Mr. Secretary, we make a note that Mr. Tamburello said he would be late for this evening's meeting, and Ms. Anderson is away on personal matters. Thank you. We'll return as soon as closed session is done.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Massimino. I'm not Dr. Zaga. I didn't want anybody to think they were going crazy. I want to thank Ms. Bono, Ms. Trupa, and the entire staff from School 19. I'd like to thank all the parents and family members that came out to support your students. The Menlo Park Terrace School 19 chorus is happy and excited to perform for you today. The chorus is made up of 75 4th and 5th graders. We have a portion of our group performing with us tonight. To bring some winter fun, they will first sing Frosty and the Hand Jive. They will then celebrate our school theme for this year with a song from Toy Story, You've Got a Friend in Me. And they will conclude with the Star Spangled Banner. We hope you enjoy the selections and enjoy the holiday season. Thank you for everyone for supporting and coming out tonight. Enjoy them. They sound tremendous.
Please rise for a salute to the flag and a moment of silence. Thank you very much to School 19 and Mrs. Bono and all the teachers and staff that showed up to support them. Do we have a motion to reconvene?
So motion?
I have a motion by Mr. Molnar. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Delapietro. Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Bourdain?
Here.
Mr. Delapietro?
Here.
Mr. Harris?
Here.
Mr. Molnar?
Here.
Mr. Sedana? Here. Mr. Tamburello?
Here.
Mr. Velez?
Here.
Mr. Treebwasser?
Here. Will someone make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting?
So motion.
Motion by Mr. Harris. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Tamburello. Any additions or corrections? Oh, sorry. Mr. Delapietro. Any corrections or additions? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Mr. Secretary, please state for the record any notice of bids received by the board.
Mr. President, there are no bids at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Dr. Zaga, please state for the record the superintendent report for the month of October 2019.
Mr. President, I have the following reports to present to the board: the student registers and the security and fire drill reports, suspension reports for elementary and secondary schools, bomb threat reports, and the reports of the attendance officer.
Thank you, Dr. Zaga. Dr. Zaga, will you please introduce our student representative, John Pozinski?
It'll be my pleasure. John Pazanski, a senior at Colonia High School, is the all-time wins leader in Colonia wrestling history. He placed second in the state last season in an NJSIAA state tournament. Currently, he is ranked as high as number 2 in the country for his weight class. He's a member of Heroes and Cool Kids and is also the NJSIAA Student Athlete Ambassador for Colonia. Next year, John will be continuing his academic and athletic career at Rutgers University. John?
Thank you, Dr. Zaga, members of the COLT, and Board of Education for inviting me here today, this evening. School 22, activities. Students participated in a week of respect. Island Fire Department, Station 11, delivered a fire prevention and safety assembly to our students. The Lane-Crest Book Club met to discuss third grade detectives, the mystery of the stolen statue. Students and staff wore T-shirts in support of Eric LeGrand, the Christopher Reeve Foundation, and the search for a cure for paralysis. Detective Schlossberg delivered classroom lessons to our students during School Violence Awareness Week. On October 22nd, the school received its Future Ready Bronze certification. The annual trunk or treat was held for the students and families. we hosted Marine Officer Francis Lee as part of our annual Veterans Day program. School 23, students in grades K through 5 participated in Discovery Kitchen. Kindergarten students participated in their ABC Boot Camp Parade. The annual Veterans Day program, Literacy Fair for grades K through 5, Character Ed Assembly. Avenel Middle School, we are celebrating American education with a variety of school-wide activities. Our school received recognition from the Broadcom Masters National Middle School Science Competition. Our softball team had an undefeated season and district championship. The Avenel Middle School community honored our United States veterans by hosting a breakfast and coordinating an interactive program for our students. Our student council coordinated our school-wide Spirit Week activities. We are continuing our involvement in the Sidekick program, where our students will be working with elementary students to provide mentoring programs. Our PTO coordinated the Halloween dance and fall walkathon. Colonia High School. The student council donated over 300 blankets, sheets, towels, and etc. for St. Hubert's Animal Hospital. Raised over $750 for breast cancer awareness and scholarship funds. Donated over 500 non-perishable food items to MC Foods. Collected 153 ink cartridges that will be recycled, and donated 300 items to Hurricane Dorian relief. Several of our students have volunteered to be a Big Brothers Big Sisters and will mentor CMS students. The Guitar Club is raising money in honor of the Colonia High School alumni. Julian Irizarry performed with the All-State Orchestra in Atlantic City on November 8th. Roxana Najjar, Sherry Milano, Carrie Leshak, Gabby Matos, Jack Riley, Harrison Brindley, and Andrew Lukowaziski. The junior class officers deserve special recognition for motivating their class to participate in all class fundraisers. Special recognition is given to our committed junior class volunteers for participating in most, if not all, activities thus far. Ariana Cotto, Raquel Martinez, Emily Melendez, and Caitlin Bowport. Chantel Greffer and Teresa Smythe were awarded a 2019-2020 BASF STEM education grant of $5,000 for their citizen science application. The Colonia High School Interact Club kicked off the school year with a Team LeGrand Harvest Festival. The event raised over $8,000. Art history is now a dual enrollment course with Middlesex County College. Students have the opportunity to earn 6 credits from Middlesex County College toward their degree as an alternative to the AP College Board exam. There are still 2 more performances of the fall play, Maybe Baby, It's You, on Friday, 11/22, and Saturday, 11/23 at 7 p.m. There were 69 new members inducted into the Spanish Honor Society. U.S. History 2 had a great time visiting the Franklin Roosevelt Presidential Library and Museum, the Eve Ready Diner, and the walkway over the Hudson State Park. The 2 sections of Engineering 2 took a field trip with T&M Associates. They took a tour and heard a presentation about the HVAC engineering work being done at the club at Woodbridge. 3 students from Visual Arts 2D were selected to have their artwork exhibited at NJ PAC in Newark from November 10th, 2019 through January 12th, 2020. The students in the visual arts classes also provided artwork for the Spanish Heritage Celebration held on October 29th, 2019. Daniel Diaz, student president of the Colonia High School Historical Association, has interviewed alumni from classes of 1969 and 1974, yielding copious amounts of information about the early days of our school, including how the mascot and school colors were chosen. We thank both Mr. Formola, United States Navy veteran, and Mr. Ashby, United States Marine veteran, for sharing their time and experiences with our students, and we thank them for their service to our country and commitment to our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You're more than welcome to join us for a lovely evening if you'd like to stay.
Thank you for the opportunity, but I have some homework to get to.
That's why you're a smart guy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to also thank Mr. Pace for showing up and supporting his students. Thank you, sir. Superintendent's agenda, Dr. Zaga.
Mr. President, I have 33 items to present to the board.
Do I have a motion for the superintendent's agenda? Motion by Mr. Tamburello. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Velez. Any comments or questions from the board? Any comments or questions from the public? Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Bourdain?
Yes.
Mr. Delapetro?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar?
Yes.
Mr. Sedana?
Yes.
Mr. Tamburello?
Yes.
Mr. Velez? Yes. Mr. Treebwasser?
Yes. Policy and Planning, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Treebwasser. The Policy and Planning Committee, on recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, presents the following 7 items. I move for the adoption of the foregoing.
I have a motion by Mr. Harris. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Delapietro. Are there any comments or questions from the board?
Mr. President,
Mr. Molnar.
on item number 1, tonight we honored 47 Woodbridge Township veterans for coming, for talking during our Veterans Day program that we initiated in this township. I just want to thank the administration for building on it. We started this a couple of years ago. It's been a huge success. I want to thank all the schools involved. I know the PTOs, they do it, each school does it a little bit different. They bring the veterans in, they talk to the children. Sometimes the PTOs have breakfast or have lunch for the veterans, and just want to thank the administration for keeping this going and making it bigger and better every year.
Thank you, Mr. Molnar. Any other comments or questions?
Mr. President, I also
Mr.
wanted
Harris.
to jump in as well. Wanted to highlight number 5 for the community. That is the district's recognition of the week of Hour of Code. It's a program run nationally to teach and introduce our students to computer science and coding. Coding is a universal language that will be the future of the 21st century and 22nd century world economies. So it's incredibly important that our students are introduced to coding, and then hopefully we foster an interest and prepare our students for the workforce in the future. So thank you, Mr. President.
Harris.
Thank you to
Any
the
other comments from the
administration.
board? Any comments from the public? Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Bourdain?
Yes.
Mr. Delapetro?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar?
Yes.
Mr. Sedana?
Yes.
Mr. Tamburello?
Yes.
Mr. Velez?
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser?
Yes. Curriculum agenda, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Treebwasser. The curriculum agenda, on recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, present the following 4 items. I move for the adoption of the foregoing.
I have a motion by Mr. Harris. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sedana. Any comments or questions from the board? Any comments or questions from the public? Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Bourdain?
Yes.
Mr. Delapetro?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar?
Yes.
Mr. Sedana?
Yes.
Mr. Tamburello?
Yes.
Mr. Velez?
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser?
Yes. Finance and Insurance agenda, Mr. Tamburello.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance and Insurance Committee, on recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and the Business Administrator Board Secretary, presents the following 12 items. This evening, I move for the adoption of the foregoing 12 items.
I have a motion by Mr. Tamburello. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Delapietro. Any comments or questions from the board? Any comments or questions from the public? Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Bourdain?
Yes.
Mr. Delapetro?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar?
On item number 1, I'll be abstaining in the name Brian Molnar. Yes on all items.
Mr. Sedana?
Yes.
Mr. Tamburello?
Yes.
Mr. Velez?
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser?
Yes. Athletics and extracurriculars, Ms. Bourdain.
The Athletics and Extracurricular Committee, on recommendation of the Superintendent of the Schools and Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, present the following 2 items.
I have a motion by Ms. Bourdain. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Mr. Molnar. Any comments or questions from the board?
Mr. President?
Mr. Harris?
I meant to say this under the curriculum agenda. I want to recognize our students in the back here from the AP U.S. Government and Politics class for joining us this evening. It's part of their curriculum that our students attend council meetings as well as school board meetings. So I hope you guys are enjoying your evening, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Any comments or questions from the public?
Mr. President,
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Sedana.
I actually want to invite one gentleman who's actually in the audience today. I'm part of an organization that has multiple chapters across the United States that's completely volunteer run by the youth in every community. I would like to invite Mr. Rajesh Sharma up on the mic. The organization is called...
That really should be under new business, unless it's a curriculum agenda item.
Oh, no, it's actually extracurricular, so...
Okay.
Just wanted to introduce him to the board. They're very active in Edison and Metuchen, and I am now the new representative of the organization in Woodbridge Township. So I want to offer this extracurricular opportunity to our students and our school system. So,
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Rajesh Sharma, 379 Middlesex Avenue, Metuchen, New Jersey. I am a coordinator for Seva International in New Jersey. We are running if you go and look, we are running various programs all over the world. We are a non-profit organization. But today I'm here to talk about, and thanks to Mr. Sedana for asking me, specifically the program that we are running in Middlesex County area. This program is specifically what we call is a LEAD program, is a leadership program for middle school and high school students. Currently, or last year, we had a student from JP, Edison South School, we had Metuchen, Monroe School, Chesterfield, and various other places. Woodbridge was not one of the schools that we reached out last year, so I apologize for that. So this year we're trying to reach out to Woodbridge School District, and I've met Mr. Harris before on other occasions. But this program specifically does community service. We are trying to raise leaders for 21st century, the middle schoolers and high schoolers to be socially conscious about environment and sustainability and do community service around in their community, keeping that in mind and become leader. Last year, specifically, we did a couple of programs. One of the major programs we did is the Middlesex County's Kiddie Keep Well Camp. If you have heard about it, there is a 10 days program, and that is 4 sessions that goes on for about 40 days in summer, in July and August, for underprivileged kids. Lead students who are high schoolers came for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They prepared, they cleaned up the dishes, they did all the things that is needed to house 80 underprivileged kids that go through that program. Together, they put about 3,500 hours over this 40 days. And most of the kids did over 150 hours in 8 or 10 weeks duration. What that entails is we have a program called President's Volunteer Service Award. That's a very exclusive program. And you get a White House letter and a signature and then certificate only when you have 100 hours or over, if you are 14 years and over. We are the only few organizations who are allowed to issue these certificates for the leads. So this helps them in community service and in terms of getting the rewards. I'll quickly go over a few more. I have some pamphlets that I will circulate so you'll get more information about it. You can reach out to Mr. Sedana. He's helping us get this program introduced in Woodbridge area. And we would like the Woodbridge School Board of Education help us so we can reach out to middle school and high school students. The other thing on a side note we have done is if you drive through Metuchen, we have adopted Route 27, which means we are part of a clean community program of New Jersey State. We are cleaning up 2 miles of Metuchen, basically keeping clean that highway. We do every quarter a cleanup, sometime 2 times. There are other initiatives we have. We are also going to Hands of Hope Pantry in Edison, if you know, for all year long. We are doing that. We are at Edison Tower. If you talk to Kathleen, she is the director. She knows us very well. We have been supporting their programs, building the trail at the historic tower, cleaning up boat house.
Excuse me, Mr. Sharma, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah.
This really fits more into our public comment session. Typically, when you speak, it's on the agenda items, so when it's athletics and extracurricular. But I can see you obviously need more time, and I don't want to cut your presentation
that's fine.
short.
Yeah.
But when we go to the open comment section for the public, if you could finish off then, that would be
Yeah,
most
I pretty
appropriate.
much done. I will distribute this. I'll be around here if there are any questions, and I'll come back in public
Okay, and
session.
also would suggest making an appointment with the superintendent's office,
Sure,
so that maybe he can help us to disseminate the information that you have.
absolutely. Thank you very
sir.
much for your time.
And again, I
Appreciate it.
apologize for stopping you.
Absolutely no problem.
Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Bourdain?
Yes.
Mr. Delapetro?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
Mr. Sedana?
Yes.
Mr. Tamburello?
Yes.
Mr. Velez?
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser?
Yes. Transportation agenda, Mr. Velez.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Transportation Committee, on the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and the Business Administrator Board Secretary, present the following 10 items, and I recommend for the adoption of the foregoing.
I have a motion by Mr. Velez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Delapetro. Any comments or questions from the board? Any comments or questions from the public? Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Bourdain?
Yes.
Mr. Delapetro?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
Mr. Sedana?
Yes.
Mr. Tamburello?
Yes.
Mr. Velez?
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser?
Yes. Unfortunately, we were not able to complete our closed session previously. Therefore, we are going to return to closed session. Mr. Delapetro, will you read the closed session statement?
Thank you, Mr. President. In compliance with the Sunshine Law, the board must go into closed session in order to discuss subjects exempted from the public portion of our meeting. The discussions to be held in closed session will be regarding personnel matters. Additionally, the board will receive attorney-client advice regarding the implementation of the project labor agreement. Any information regarding the closed session discussion will be released to the public when the reasons for discussing these matters in closed session no longer exist.
Okay.
So, we would normally just go into closed session to reconvene in closed session, but because there may be some members of the public who want to speak, I think I would recommend to the president of the board that we, no, that could be for later, that we open public comment now, so that anyone wishing to speak to the board doesn't have to wait for us to finish closed session. So if that's acceptable to the president of the board.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay. So we'll just do.
Okay. In keeping with our past practice, we open this portion of the meeting up for statements from the public. If you wish to say something, please come to the microphone, provide your name and address for the record, and please limit your comments to no more than 5 minutes in accordance with Regulation 1100D. Also, I will not answer any questions during your 5-minute period. I will wait till you have completed saying what you have to say before I answer any questions. Thank you.
All right, David Pigwitz, Island. The day after the last board meeting, on a Friday, to the surprise of, I think, many of the parents in the district, we received an announcement that there was a new volunteer policy. This hadn't been really discussed with the public in general beforehand, and the policy was to have background checks of all volunteers. That's specifically what the email said. There were 2 evening sessions offered just in the weeks following that announcement, and besides those weekend sessions, evening sessions, the only other sessions that are offered on a weekly basis are during the week 9 to 11 and 1 to 2, when of course many people that might volunteer are also happening to work. Without regard to whether this is a good or bad idea as a policy, I did a little research just to find out whether it was a mandatory policy. As far as I could tell, the state law hasn't changed, and it still says it's up to the district whether or not to have volunteers have background checks. The only requirement is, I think, district has to pay for it if they do it. So I looked to see what the board had adopted. As far as I could tell, there's no policy that's adopted by this board. The only change was a regulation. I don't know if it was changed in August. I just know it was last updated in August. A regulation that says that parents who wish to volunteer in school on a regular basis will be required to complete an annual background check, and that's Regulation 1200. Of course, one key difference between the email and that is it says a regular basis, while the email that we received said all volunteers. It didn't say anything about a regular basis. Even one time would be enough to trigger that background check. The real problem, though, is the rollout was atrocious, just really bad, as bad as it could possibly be. Not only did you have limited time for people to do this, but you announced it to take place immediately a week before there were Halloween parties and other things in the elementary level. We're in the middle of football season, dealing with the bands and other things going on. It just really was as bad a rollout as could possibly be. And it's, you know, I'd like to say that this is a one-time deal, but the problem is, this is a common problem. The board doesn't always make known to the public what it's about to do. As far as the change in regulation, I mean, the board's policies on regulations are that the superintendent shall, you know, whenever it makes sense, involve staff that are affected by these regulations in the planning stages. To my knowledge, that didn't happen because it seemed to surprise building principals, heads, you know, teachers that are faculty advisors for organizations. I just think it was really poorly done. And if it's going to continue with this volunteer policy, the volunteer actually going in the building itself was trivial. It took only a few minutes. But the availability of that opportunity is so limited. I mean, the district really should make an effort to go to PTO meetings at the various schools and do it there. They should make an effort to go to any large events to do it there, or at least have more evening sessions at the school. I mean, even in the daytime, it becomes tricky because, as you know, almost every spot there, except for a handful of visitor spots, are labeled as belonging to someone. It's not always clear whether, I mean, even though many of them are empty, you know, finding a visitor spot isn't always the easiest thing to do at the administration building either. So I just think it was badly done, and I hope something like this doesn't happen again. And to the extent it is making it difficult to become a volunteer, I hope there are fixes that are made going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
So motion?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Tanisha Martin Robinson, and I believe you said address 1101 Village Drive, Avenel, New Jersey, 07001. Today, my concerns are first and foremost, I would like to say thank you to Dr. Zega for your coffee hour yesterday. Thank you for the letter to the parents stating that regarding the air pollution concerns that were going around. Thank you for the prompt response, as well as publishing the report online. In reviewing the report online, I do still have some concerns, so I wanted to bring it to the board. And it's pretty much questions, so I will advise what my concerns are, and then you can go from there. So in the report, we are showing that there was an interpretive report done, and that was done according to the report on October 15th by Alan, and forgive me if I pronounce the name incorrectly, or I'll just spell it Barkkume, which was an industrial hygienist for the Work Environment Council on behalf of the New Jersey Education Association. In this report, there are some recommendations for our school to adhere to. The one thing the couple of questions I would like to have information on are answered. One, the report showing that was posted online was showing that we only assessed 8 rooms. I want to know why, are we going to assess the other rooms in the school district, in Woodbine Avenue School? Are the levels based on the ages within the school? It does give us the information on the levels, and there are highlights in yellow. There are some that are marked in red flags, The two that were marked in red flags that were concerning and elevated was the trimethylbenzene gases, which reviewing and researches can cause over time, if exposed excessively, nerve system damages and other aspects. Also, it was the naphthalene, but it's NAPHTHALEN, which is a carcinogenic, which can be cancer-causing. So those are the main ones that we were concerned of, because they are throughout the report for each room that was assessed. We would like to know if it was determined how long the exposure was, if the outcome is based on the children's ages that are within the school, because I don't know if this is based on adult age or children age or both. So the time frame of the exposure we would like to understand, and are we looking to follow any of the recommendations provided by, or are we already processing any of the recommendations by the industrial hygienist? I tried to wrap it up in 5 minutes for you guys.
You did a fine job.
Okay.
The board yet has not seen the report you're talking about. I believe the report that the industrial hygienist that you mentioned had is the report that our environmental person did, and then that was passed on to the industrial hygienist for their feedback.
Yes.
We have processes in place. We have already started to address them. We will continue to address them. You know, all I can say is that we are not going to put children, students, or children, staff, or parents, or anyone in the building at risk. We're going to go through the process. We learned a lot of things when we had School 18.
Yes.
We learned all the things we did that we shouldn't have done, that were a waste of time and money. And we learned all the things that we needed to do, which has resulted in a very positive, clean, and healthy school. And we will take that same approach, methodical approach, to School 23, and we will do whatever we need to do to make the school right. Okay. So once we've had a chance to see that report, and we've gotten feedback from our industrial hygienist and our environmental person, then we'll know which way we have to go. That's why we hire them.
Okay. And I appreciate that. Can I just make a request, and I did with Dr. Zaga, and I know he will pass it along, is the communication. Because as parents, we would not like to hear things on social media to circle around our school environment, causing havoc and concern by other parents, and other parents that may not have known or may not be on social media, and they are unaware of the circumstances. So we can implement some type of communication earlier than later, so we are not running around concerned, asking questions from those that we may not need to be asking questions from.
Unfortunately, we can't stop people from posting things on social media, whether they're accurate or inaccurate.
I agree.
We did have a committee meeting with our chair of the Buildings and Grounds Committee, Mr. Molnar, and the facilities manager, his assistant, and the rest of the committee. We spoke to the students, Mr. Jeffroy, the staff, and Mr. Jeffroy, and explain the importance of, if there's something that's legitimate, we're going to make sure we get that information out immediately. We're going to disseminate it through the principal. I believe the principal is going to pass it on to the association rep in the building. Mr. Jeffroy will also be kept in the loop, and we're going to try and create a clear path for the parents. However, keep in mind, there will be people that will take whatever we put out, they will twist it and bend it, and they will make it fit whatever their agenda is.
Oh, absolutely.
If you have any questions at all, you can contact the superintendent's office, and he will tell it to you straight. Good, bad, or indifferent, you will get the right answer.
I'm sure he will. I appreciate your time, and I thank you for hearing us out
Thank
today.
you for coming to the mic. Anybody else?
Yeah, hi, my name is Hetal Shah. My residence is 846 Green Street, Islin, New Jersey. My kids go to Robert Mechanic School, and the other goes to Islin Middle School. I have a question regarding the school accounts, allowing kids access to crazy games, which also allow them to play gun games, as well as there are certain pop-ups that come up which are not appropriate for a little kid to see, like about testosterone and all those things that come up. So my main question is, the parents, how are you guys trying to, are you guys going to try to manage the sites on your end, to block certain sites such as gaming sites and all that, and only limit it to the school approved sites that you clearly dictate during the technology hour? There are only few sites such as Brain Pop and Reflex and all the other ones, but kids are also getting into YouTube accounts. So as a parent, I find that I feel like my kid is logged into the school account and studying, but he's staying up till 1:30 a.m. playing crazy gun games. So I find that with the violence that is around in everywhere, is this something that you guys are going to try to limit? I am also opposed to Google.com being widely accessed by kids. I know Google is a huge site, but kids can type in anything and even images come up. So I personally have a school kids account that I created from Family Link, the Google link, and I manage exact sites that my kids can access. So even BrainPop, if they want to watch YouTube videos, it's opening. Everything is opening in that site. They are able to research in school-only related sites. They're able to research whatever they want. So can you give access to the parents to limit the sites, or can you take away access on your end so the kids cannot go into those sites?
Okay, I have a couple questions. Are your children getting onto these sites on a district device?
On a school account. So it's my Google Chrome account. It's my Google Chrome machine, the laptop machine, and they can get in from the school using WSTNJ account that you have created for the Google Classroom. They get into that account, and that account allows them YouTube as well as all the other sites which I would not permit. So in order to stop that, like let's say if I have my own Google account created for my kid, I'm allowed to set bedtime, I'm allowed to block the sites, I'm allowed to lock the account if they are being bad. But with the school account, they're able to get into the device, and I think that they are studying, but they can switch accounts, and they are actually playing on school account. So how do I stop that from happening? Because the minute I turn around, they are switching and they are playing games. Or they sneak in. I'm a working mother, and I cannot be glued to what they are doing all the time. So is there some way that you can limit it only to school sites? I understand that the teachers have other, that they want to visit to certain sites, but give them admin rights, give them elevated rights. But have parents have a control on what sites the kids can go into, not school deciding.
We just had this conversation at our technology committee meeting on Tuesday.
Okay.
Mr. Sedana is our chair of that committee. But some of the things that you're talking about become a very fine line between preventing students from getting onto sites that may be beneficial, and them unfortunately being very smart and adept and having capabilities, and they wind up figuring out ways to get around our blocks. But there are YouTube videos that we want the kids to watch that are pertinent to their education. And there are other sites that we want the kids to go on that are pertinent to their education. Unfortunately, the way the internet is once they get to a certain point, if they're smart enough or they're capable enough or they've figured it out or Googled it how to figure it out, they get around our blocks. But Mr. Sedana, if you'd be so kind as to...
Sure. Thank you, Mr. President. We were in touch via email, so I just wanted to... I spoke to our tech committee and the person in charge, and as of now, if you have found sites and you have URLs and links, I know you've sent me some, and I've forwarded that over. You can send that to the principal of your school.
Okay.
And he can then filter it down to the IT department to then to look into and then restrict access through a school account. Again, there's an assessment process, so it might take some time. I don't know what the timeline is. That's a question that I've posed. But right now, the chain of command has to be followed. So if you can send those links over to the principal, just stating that, hey, these are the sites that our kids are using to get around the blocks in the school account. If you can please have them blocked or restricted, and then he or she will take it from there. So right now, that is the process. We still are talking about how to make it quicker, to make it more smart, because the system that is being used to monitor is also AI-based. So we can give it recommendations and it will start following through on it. But thank you for coming, and I completely understand your concern.
Thank you so much for hearing
Ma'am,
me.
certainly if you're sending an email to your principal, you can always CC the superintendent so that he's privy to what's going on. I'm sure that if it's not getting resolved, at least then he's in the loop.
Okay, great.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Sedana.
you.
Thank you.
Closed session, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll be back as soon as we're done. We'll reconvene. Mr. Secretary, please do roll call.
Ms. Bourdain?
Here.
Mr. Del Petro?
Still here.
Mr. Harris? Here. Mr. Molnar?
Here.
Mr. Sedana?
Yes, here.
Mr. Tamburello?
Here.
Mr. Velez?
Here.
Mr. Treebwasser?
Here. Personnel agenda. Mr. Molnar.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Personnel Committee, on the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and the Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, presents the following. Tonight, I will be moving 36 items.
I have a motion by Mr. Molnar. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Della Pietro. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Any comments or questions from the public? Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Bourdain?
I vote no on number 31 and yes to all others.
Mr. Del Petro?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
I will be abstaining on item number 32, voting yes on the remaining agenda.
Mr. Molnar?
Yes.
Mr. Sedana?
Yes.
Mr. Tamburello?
Abstain, item number 32, yes on all others.
Mr. Velez?
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser?
I will be abstaining on item 14 in the name of Michael Henderson, on item 17 in the name of Linda Treebwasser, and I will be abstaining on the name Joe Massimino. All yes on all other items. What's that? Oh, I'm sorry. 31. 33? 33.
Just want to confirm that.
Sure, I think based on what Mr. Treebwasser's suggesting, I abstain on, I think it was item number 33 as well.
Not the whole item, just on the one.
No, 33 is one,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yep, so there's an abstention, and then we had another abstention from Mr. Del Petro, right?
On item 33.
On 33?
Yeah.
Was that actually an abstention, Mr. Del Petro?
I'll recommend yes.
Okay, great.
Through the chair?
Yes,
I just want to clarify, the abstention on item number 33 is out of conflict of my mother happens to work for the school district, so because she works technically underneath the individual under item number 33, that's why I'm abstaining. Just want to make that clear.
I'll make my motion.
Yeah, Mr. Del Petro's wife works in the district as well, and as a result, also works for the individual mentioned in number 33.
Mr. Bush, do you have any I'm sorry. Roll call, Mr. Secretary?
We did that.
Okay, then we're good. Mr. Bush, do you have any recommendations this evening?
We're good.
Is there any old business to come before the board? Is there any new business to come before the board?
Yeah, I'm going to jump in real quick. I'll make it quick. I only one shout out tonight. Dr. Zeg, I want to thank you for this. The Middlesex County Vocational Technical and Academy Information Session has officially been scheduled. This is an opportunity, a night and evening for parents and children to come and meet the representatives from the 5 Middlesex County vocational technical schools and academies in Middlesex County. That's to be held on Monday, November the 25th from 6:30 p.m. onward. Typically lasts about an hour, so make sure you get there within that hour. That's going to be taking place in the cafetorium at Island Middle School, located in Island on 900 Panther Way. This is open to all students and parents, particularly middle school parents and children. If you do have even the microscopic interest in potentially attending one of the 5 Middlesex County vocational schools, I just want to highlight this real quick. There are 3 traditional vocational schools that students can attend on a full or shared time. Some of the curriculum that students, when they go to those traditional vocational technical schools, they choose a career major, similar to a college major. So they could choose from some of the many here. Culinary, fine and performing arts, the traditional building trades of carpentry, plumbing, electric, or HVAC, to name a few, automotive technology, as well as green technology, as well as other trades, including special education programs. And then finally, the two other schools, they are known as academies. One is located in Edison and focuses on science, technology, engineering, and math. I think it's the #1 school in the state of New Jersey. And the Allied Health Program that's located actually right here in Woodbridge Township, and that focuses on the healthcare fields. So again, that information session, it's an opportunity to meet guidance counselors as well as current students of those 5 schools. Again, Monday, November the 25th, 6:30 p.m. at Island Middle School. Dr. Zega, thank you for your persistence on getting the 5 representatives out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank Mr. Bader. He arranged it.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Are there any other comments or questions?
Mr. President, if I may, I just want to give a shout out to Woodbridge Middle School. They're selling chocolates to try to raise money. You know, they're in an unfortunate position where they're not in their school, so if you see a Woodbridge Middle Schooler selling chocolate, please buy it for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bourdain. Any other comments? Just in keeping with my past practice on our environmental issues in the school district, there was a smell issue brought up at School 18, which is being addressed by our facilities through our standard procedures for dealing with environmental concerns. School 23, as the lady who was up previously had spoken, Dr. Zega has arranged to have our environmental consultant in there. Also, a occupational environmental analysis was done or is being done by another company, and they will give us some input on how we can fix some of the odors that have been coming in that we believe are coming from the outside. Woodbridge Middle School will be reevaluated on December 2nd with the builders and the town inspectors and administration. School 11, the building will be torn down, but we are still waiting for some more abatement to be done. And School 28 is complete with the repointing and the playground area. And that's it at the time. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Molnar. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Harris. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting's adjourned.